the Roman Empire, in its time the all-conquering superpower. At the start of the first millennium, the Romans controlled huge swathes of the known world. But there was still one land they'd never conquered: Britain. So Emperor Claudius ordered a massive invasion. There was just one problem. The Roman soldiers were absolutely terrified of the Britons.
As far as the Romans were concerned, this was wild country. Here be dragons.
Okay, not literal dragons. But when the Romans decided to invade, it was all the generals could do to force the troops across the Channel at all. And there were 40,000 of them. The problem was, they were convinced Britain was a land of savage, naked, magical cannibals that burnt their enemies alive. Basically, the most terrifying savages imaginable. But come on, Marianne, how bad could they actually be?
When the Romans invaded Britain, they ran up against blue-painted locals. They were handy with a sword, savage, and some Romans feared supernatural. Are you supernatural?
No.
See? Terrifying. These painted savages, or in this case, a heavily armed Geordie hobbyist called Callum, were nothing like the Romans. They dressed in animal skins and were covered in tattoos. Worst of all, they didn't even have the same gods. Is that a little boar on the top of your head?
Yeah, because
little piggy?
they have these animal crests on. I think it could be to capture the spirit that the warrior wants to personify.
Most Iron Age British gods were elemental: water, earth, fire, and were tied to physical locations like bogs, mountains, and streams. While Roman gods were recognisably human. So they found the Brit gods very unsettling. And when the Romans went up against the locals in battle, it just got worse. The Britons turned out to be very skilled at warfare, not because they were magic, but because they'd been beating the crap out of each other for centuries. So when the Romans turned up, they met battle-hardened warriors who suddenly had a common enemy: them.
Going up against such fearsome warriors was bad enough for the Romans, but they also had a sneaking suspicion that the locals' fighting skills were almost supernatural. According to the writer Cassius Dio, the ancient Britons can endure hunger and cold and any kind of hardship, for they plunge into the swamps and exist there for many days with only their heads above water. They prepare a certain kind of food, the eating of a small portion of which, the size of a bean, prevents them from feeling either hunger or thirst.